He's being evaluated by our medical team, and there'll be further evaluation tomorrow, and we'll know more tomorrow.
So you start the second half with Thomas Bryant, and he ends up being one of the guys that helps carry you, Darvin. But what did you see from your team as a whole, bouncing back from that, and how did you see him carry it out in the fourth?
Man, just stepping up. We didn't want that Boston loss to spill into future games, and it can. But at the end of the day, our guys dug down deep. They made some runs in the first half and really put a lot of pressure on our defense, and we were fouling, and then offensively I thought we were playing a little bit too fast, rushing too many things, and just not giving ourselves a real chance by exploring different options within our sets. But lo and behold, the second half came. Got the news about AD and Thomas. My hat's off to him. He's a pro's pro. Keeps himself ready, keeps himself right. That's why we have play groups, stay ready groups for guys, low minute or no minute guys, to continue to stay sharp. And he did that. And he came out and had a really, really huge effort against two-time MVP and really helped us on both sides of the basketball. Just his energy and activity, his no-quit mentality. I mean, we needed that. He was a huge burst for us.
Darvin, a couple questions quick. How concerned are you with AD from what you've been?
I don't want to speak on it until I know exactly what's going on. So I'll know more tomorrow.
And then did you guys so I think it happened in the first quarter, if it's the play that everybody is kind of sharing. When did you get the news at halftime? Was he like how?
No, he has a foot issue. He's having a foot issue. Had injured his foot, and they took him back for some X-rays, and again, we'll know more tomorrow.
Especially considering this game against Boston that you guys just played, what do you make of your team's character sort of in that fourth quarter, and then how big a part was Russ of just getting you guys there?
Russ's motor, man, is second to none. Excuse me, the way he competes, the way he puts pressure on both sides of the ball, he can search and defend. Again, just picking guys out, really putting a lot of pressure on the paint. His drop-off passes, his kick-outs for threes, his rebounding, everything, man. He was huge tonight. He and Bron really stepped up and were huge in a big, big way. And along with our other guys, I thought Dennis was great. I thought Pat Bev was great. Austin, he had his moments, along with Thomas, and he was great. We threw the rookie even had a couple of good moments. So it was good to see, and it just shows that we've had some rough finishes, some unfortunate finishes to some games against some really, really good opponents. And tonight was no different, in terms of having a really good opponent in front of us, someone that's top 3 in the West. And our guys showed a lot of character, a lot of competitive spirit.
Or whatever testing that AD is going to be doing, but how do you deal with that kind of thing, both in the immediate and then even, after the game and just talking to him?
Well, I mean, obviously, health is always first when it comes to any of our teammates. And, it doesn't change with AD. I mean, that's the most important. So, we know something, and we go from there. But, wish the best of news for sure, especially for AD in general.
This specific game, Denver got a little bit of a lift coming out of halftime, and then it seemed like you guys were able to find something and keep going to it. Thomas Bryant, Max Christie, and Russ, different guys. What did you think the difference was as you close it out?
We just started to get defensive stops. We got some defensive stops, and we was able to get out and execute offensively, either on the break, where we was very efficient, and like you said, TB had no idea that he was starting the second half. He was still on the floor when we was drawing up the play. So for him just to staying ready, for him to go out there and give the performance that he had, Russ was phenomenal on both sides of the floor, finding guys all night, defending, rebounding, and then the big minutes from the Rook and Max was huge for us.
Obviously, AD's been an MVP type of candidate for you guys this year, and missing him at any time is tough if he does miss time. But where you guys are now as a team, about a third into the season, have you established some sort of identity, and what is it if you have to move forward for a certain amount of time where you don't have AD?
No, because we haven't done it. Our team is built on having, pretty much everyone. So, we'll make the adjustment accordingly, but we haven't done it, so we don't know what that will look like.
LeBron, you've been pretty consistent in saying that you and Russ especially need more reps and needed more reps last season. Now that we've kind of seen some of these games, especially the Boston game, this game, where you two have been on the floor, been a part of huge rallies, what do you think has adjusted or maybe come of the time that you guys have spent on the floor together that's making that fit a little easier?
Just logged minutes. Stressed that a lot last year. We just didn't have enough time to log enough minutes and know exactly how we wanted to play, how we wanted to work off one another, and how we could be effective. So, just a lot of log minutes and being in the right place at the right time.
When a guy gets hurt, we typically hear the same things, right? Like, not one guy can replace him, especially when it's AD or like it's a next man up mentality. But it seemed like in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, like all that stuff came to like real fruition where everybody who played had a hand in it. Everybody else did a little bit more, maybe instead of any one person trying to take over. What can kind of that do for a team when 8 or 9 guys walk out tonight feeling like I played a big role in this one?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, especially after the heartbreak loss we had against Boston, for us to come back a couple of nights later and, play well at times and then go get down and, then make a rally and the guys, off the bench, making it the biggest impact for the game. I think it was huge. I mean, like you said, Russ, AR, Troy, Max, and Thomas, they were phenomenal. I mean, and when you look at it, they're all in the plus. And we needed every single minute. All the efforts that we got from them was huge.
LeBron, changing the subject a bit, I know you're a big soccer fan, and the World Cup final is on Sunday. There's a Liverpool guy in there with France, but two greats, Messi against Mbappe. Who you got?
I'm not gonna choose. What time is the match actually?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. Okay, cool. So I can get up and watch it. I just want to see a great match like the rest of the world, besides who's ever rooting for France or Argentina. So we will see. I mean, it's going to be a great one, and look forward to seeing two of the greatest that ever played that sport go at it. So it'll be fun.
Last question, Mark Sedino.
LeBron, when you contrast like the Boston game and the game like tonight, through the course of your career, what do you think have been the determining factors that influence whether a team can execute down the stretch?
In what sense? What do you mean? From one game to the next game, or just down?
Yeah, in a specific game and when the game is tight.
Well, I mean, chemistry is always very key. I mean, depending on how long you've been with that club, or the games that you've been in. Have you been in close games? Have you been in tight games? Have you been in pressure situations with a group out on the floor where you kind of know, like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna go to. This is how we know we're gonna execute. So, in my experience, I've been able to be a part of both, where you have some inexperienced lineups or inexperienced teams that can't quite figure it out because they haven't logged enough minutes, they haven't logged enough games or enough experience. And then obviously I've been a part of teams that's been through so many battles that adversity meant nothing, because that's when you literally like thrive in those moments, in those adverse moments. So, every team, and depending on how long you've been with that club or, the chemistry that you have with that club will determine, the outcome of some of those late games.
The ADs in the locker room, and Thomas starts it, and Denver had a little run, and from that point on, you guys seemed to find something. What do you think that was specifically, and how did you ride it out through the fourth?
Just our energy, our pace changed. The game when it changes. You can see it. It's a drastic difference. When we play that way, it's hard to beat us.
Darvin mentioned the rebounding. That's been something that hasn't necessarily been there. You were making that extra effort to come down on the glass. Did you feel like that fueled it, the board work on both ends?
Yeah, something that I do really well. I just got to do a better job of doing it every night, and it helps our team out.
Dave?
You're the first Laker ever with 2 triple-doubles off the bench, and
No.
you came here, most triple-doubles in NBA history. And a guy,
Say it again?
you came here with the most triple doubles in NBA history.
No, I didn't hear you say that.
And you're a guy who was used to starting, but there's a new role here, and it's working. And
Yeah.
What's the vibes that you're getting from this team right now?
Just trying to do whatever I can to make the person next to me better. Whatever is asked of me, I'm doing it. Whether it works or not, I'm just doing the best I can with the position that's given to me. I know what I'm capable of when I'm on the floor, so when I get on the floor, I make sure I do what I can to make others around me better, and hopefully it rubs off on the rest of the guys, and we can make some out of it.
Russ, you've often talked about wanting to make other guys better and stuff like that. I saw you go to Thomas today at one point, go to Max after it. Was this the type of game where it felt like just basically like everybody was out there at some point, had a piece of this in a moment? And what do those wins do for you?
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's honestly, man, I live for moments, and that's why I play basketball, to see others do well, and to see the joy on Thomas, Austin, Lonnie, those guys, Pat, whoever, Dennis, guys have been out injured, and they've been through so many different things, trials and tribulations the last couple of years. To see them do well, it's something that, it just gives me so much joy to see them do well, man. I just embrace that moment, just being in this league and seeing guys do that, and it's something that I think we can build on. It's something that we should try to strive for every night, and tonight's like this, one of those nights where everybody had their hand in the show.
Russ, it just seems like the chemistry between you and LeBron on the floor, especially in the last two games, you guys have been a key part of two big rallies you guys have made. Is there something that has made that connection when you guys are on the court better this year? Has it just been time together? What is it?
It just depends. I think the positioning, and Brian does a great job of running the floor. And when I'm on the break, I know he's one of the best ever. Once he get ahead of steam, not too much people can do with it, and it's my job to be able to find him and make the game easy for him. And that's what I try to do. Even for him, who's on the verge of breaking the scoring record, I try to make the game easy for him so he doesn't have to work extremely hard to score baskets.
Any more questions for us? Mike, follow-up?
Just wanted to ask you about Max Christie, and kind of being in there in crunch time. He just played in the G League the other night, and what you've seen from him in practice as he's evolved so far.
His consistent enough to come in and work. He's young. But one thing about him is that he works every day. He listens, which is a key trait, especially as a young guy in this league, to listen, because listening, you last a long time, you be around a long time, and he's got a lot of good people in the locker room he can learn from, and tonight was one of those nights where I was extremely happy for him, not just, because he made shots, but he just played well overall defensively, shot the ball with confidence,